Hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. In this video, I would like to address and discuss the rumor and the demand for Battleborn to go free-to-play. Now, if you guys have been keeping up with my videos and my opinions on games, you know I really like Battleborn, but I'm not ignorant. I'm not in denial of the game's situation. It doesn't have a large player base, that's fact. It does have a small fan base, but are there large player numbers that rival that of other multiplayer games? Hell no. And there's been a rumor going around recently that Battleborn would be going free-to-play. Gearbox recently released a statement saying that would not be in case they would instead be doing some sort of free trial version of the game where you basically get access to a limited amount of content in the game for free, get to try it out, play it, that sort of deal. You know, basically a demo. And I see and hear quite a few people saying Battleborn should go free-to-play. However, these individuals and these groups of people saying that Battleborn should go free-to-play seem to only look at Battleborn as a PvP game, and only look at the PvP aspect of Battleborn. For some reason, I don't know why some people are either ignoring or have completely forgotten the fact that Battleborn is also a single-player game. It's also a PvE game. It's not solely PvP like other games. It has a story campaign. It has a solo/co-op campaign, ranging from 8 to 10 hours depending on the difficulty and how long it takes you to complete the individual story missions. So there's that. On top of that, all of Battleborn's multiplayer PvP content can be played solo offline with bots. You can even get the multiplayer achievements playing private offline matches with bots. There's no map, there is no game mode that is off limits, there is no content that is off limits to you. A lot of people call Battleborn dead. Well, it has single player. It has fully functional single player options. The game was built to either be played alone or with people, so it can't really die. I've made videos about this, how single player games cannot die, and the notion that a game with single player can die is stupid. The PvP portion can die, and I think it's safe to say that Battleborn's PvP portion is almost just about there. Saying that a game is dead is making the statement that it's unplayable. A dead game is an unplayable game. Battleborn is far from unplayable. If you buy Battleborn now, and if you play Battleborn now, you can experience all of the content, get all of the achievements. Like, you are not required to play with other people to experience everything the game has to offer. You can't say the same about some other games, especially some of the games Battleborn is compared to. Battleborn is also a AAA video game in every sense of the word, in terms of its quality, in terms of its content. It fits the bill, it meets the qualifications. So, Battleborn going free-to-play makes absolutely no goddamn sense, and I don't know why people are wanting this, demanding it, suggesting it. It's just absurd. It really is absurd. Asking Battleborn to go free-to-play is like asking Doom to go free-to-play. It's like asking Call of Duty to go free-to-play. However, this goes a bit further than that. This goes a bit deeper than that. Because not only, in my opinion, is Battleborn going free-to-play a horrible idea, but a dangerous one. And let me explain. Now, with people asking and demanding Battleborn to go free-to-play, they bring up Evolve as an example, as Evolve Stage 2, the free-to-play version of Evolve that is currently in beta. People bring up Evolve being a AAA game that went free-to-play. And even though, I personally preferred Original Evolved, Paid for Evolve, Legacy Evolve, as it is called now. Although I personally prefer the original product to this new free-to-play version, the structure and format of Evolve, of the base game, its features, its quality, its content, it had all the necessary components, necessary qualifications to be transferred or transformed into a free-to-play game. While Evolve absolutely has some AAA qualities, its game modes, its game type, its gameplay format could easily be replicated, transferred, transformed to that of free-to-play. Evolve didn't have a story campaign, and while the game did have cutscenes, those cutscenes weren't constructing some sort of narrative, and the game's overall format, how the game played, which was basically all about one player versus 4 players, that can fit into the mold of a free-to-play game. It's not outlandish or absurd, it can work. It's a PvP style, it's a PvP-focused game, so Evolve going free-to-play absolutely works within the game's format and style. PvP player versus player multiplayer works with free-to-play because they benefit one another. Making your game free so that everyone can play it guarantees a larger player base, so that even though you don't have single-player content, the game is still playable because anyone can play it at any time and there's no fee, no financial gateway to play the game. Why do you think free-to-play PvP multiplayer games are still being played to this day? Games that were made years ago, like, of course, the most popular League of Legends, some smaller titles like Blacklight Retribution. Free-to-play PvP games work. Multiplayer and free benefit one another. Now believe me, if Battleborn was solely a PvP game, if its story campaign didn't exist, if this huge chunk of game, if this huge game mode that could be played solo or co-op wasn't there in Battleborn, it was solely the PvP and maybe had the bot play, you know what, I could completely understand going free to play, that could work. But when you start making huge story, single player / co-op campaigns free to play, I think a line's been crossed here. Because think about it. There are video games that are just campaigns. They are just story campaigns that are either single player or single player and co-op. There are single player co-op games out there that are just campaign, no PvP. You see, in my mind, if Battleborn goes free to play, then nothing's off limits. Any and all video games, AAA, indie, single player, multiplayer, PvE, PvP, everything's up for grabs now. Everything can be free to play. Well, if this big AAA story co-op campaign can go free to play, well, why not single player only games? Why can't they go free to play? What about open world games? Why can't they go free to play? There are MMOs out there that are open world, so why not The Witcher Free? Why can't The Witcher Free go free to play? Hey, why can't Wolfenstein The New Order go free to play? Why can't Call of Duty go free to play? Why can't all video games just go free to play? I mean, if this game can go free to play, then what's stopping all these other video games from going free to play? Do you see where I'm coming from? Do you see my mindset going into this? Now I know immediately there's going to be someone that's saying I'm anti-consumer for suggesting this. No, I'm pro-consumer, but I'm also pro-developer. I'm also pro-creator as someone who makes videos and has a deep respect for the creation and development of video games. I am of the belief of a balance, where if a developer, a creator, puts the time, work, effort, and love into creating a product, they should be paid for. They should be rewarded if someone wants the product they made. Do developers and publishers go off the rail, do stupid things and anti-consumer things? Absolutely. Absolutely, this is the video game industry. There's a list of scumbag things video game developers and publishers have done, but to then just blatantly say, oh well, they're all like this, they all don't deserve our money, we should all be skeptical of them, we should all rally against them and demand they give us video games for free. Like, let's not sit here and pretend that consumers are pretty little princesses who have done absolutely nothing wrong and deserve everything for free because they're so innocent. Like, come on now, let's not pretend that consumers can't pull the douchebag card. Let's not pretend that there are some consumers out there who are greedy as fuck, want everything for free because they're entitled brats. Come on now, we need to be fair, there needs to be a compromise. If game developers put in the work to make a video game, and it's not a complete piece of trash like Digital Homicide games, then they deserve some money for their work. Battleborn is a AAA quality video game that has enough content, enough value, and is completely playable single player or co-op. PvP is not required. You do not require an entire lobby of 10 people to play the game. You can play by yourself, you can play with friends, with bots, or in the single player co-op campaign. The game is completely playable. Today, right now, and forever. I find it very disturbing and disheartening when there are big YouTubers out there with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, sometimes millions, saying that Battleborn is dead and that it's unplayable when that's a flat-out fucking lie. There is nothing stopping them from playing the multiplayer PvP with bots. There's nothing stopping them from going into the campaign. Like, that's there. All the content's there, all the content's playable. Don't pretend that you can't play the game because other people aren't playing it. Oh, but you want to play with other people. You want to play PvP. Well, that's your problem. That's not the game's problem. I think something that gamers need to understand, especially multiplayer gamers, and I think I should have brought this up in one of my latest videos, Top 5 Things Multiplayer Gamers Need to Understand. I think this is something gamers in general need to understand. It doesn't matter if you make your game free to play. It doesn't matter if you do everything right. It doesn't matter how pro-consumer you are. There are just some people, the general gaming audience, that just won't want to play your game. Like, Evolve has gone free to play, and while it had a huge spike in players, that spike is no longer existent. The game, now that it's free to play, does have more players before, like months ago when it wasn't free to play, but it's still not as many players as it had before. Free-to-play didn't help it all too much. It helped it for a while, but now it's almost back where it was before, because people just don't want to play Evolve. It's as simple as that. People are going to want to play the multiplayer games they want to play, and you can't stop them. It's as simple as that. If someone wants to play League of Legends, they're going to play League of Legends. If someone wants to play Counter-Strike, they're going to play Counter-Strike. If someone's already enjoying or has a favorite multiplayer PvP game, they're just going to go back to that. They may try out something new, but in the end, they're going to go back to their preferred multiplayer. That's just how the vast majority of gamers work. That's why it's so important to have single-player and co-op PvE content. That's why making your game PvP only, in my opinion, is a bad idea. There are these multiplayer games, these multiplayer franchises that have their audience, and their audience isn't going to go anywhere. As much as I appreciate Evolve going free to play so that more people could play it, in my opinion, original Evolve, Legacy Evolve, pay-to-play Evolve was better. It was just a better game overall, and it was still playable. It was still absolutely playable because it had bots. Battleborn, however, is in a much better state than Evolve because it had a full-fledged story campaign. Battleborn is fine. It's just the way it is. Some games succeed, some games don't. Some games have large player bases, other games don't. It doesn't make the games good or bad. It doesn't make them dead or alive. They're just there. Games can exist. Evolve existed, now it's free to play, and it's going where it's going. Battleborn exists. It's there. It doesn't need to go free to play. It's completely playable. It's not dead. It can never die. It has single player. It's as simple as that. So Battleborn going free to play is not only a bad idea, it's a dangerous idea. It sends the message that any and all AAA video games, no matter how much content, no matter their quality, can go free to play, and let's not act, let's not pretend, let's not ignore that not all gamers, not all consumers are reasonable and rational. There's a great deal of entitled, greedy pricks out there who want everything for free and will pay for nothing because they think they're special snowflakes. If Battleborn were to go free to play, what's to stop people from saying, well, if Evolve and Battleborn went free to play, why can't Call of Duty go free to play? Why can't this game and that game go free to play? Why can't all video games go free to play? It creates unresponsible, unreasonable expectations for AAA video games. If we start making video games with single-player / co-op story campaigns free to play, what's to stop masses for demanding that the next Call of Duty, the next Gears of War, the next Uncharted, well, like, what's to stop them from demanding all AAA games to become free to play? Look, Battleborn was released, it's here, it's there, it's where it is right now. It has single player, it has co-op. The game is completely playable, all its content is available without the need for other players. The game has a very small, almost non-existent player base compared to other games. That's just the way it is. Let's leave it. I don't want us going down the road of making every new AAA release a free-to-play game. I don't want to give ignorant masses that idea that any AAA game can become a free-to-play game. I don't want to give people the idea that they can play AAA products for completely free and developers earn no money, or have to put egregious and extensive microtransactions into their game in order to make money since it's free-to-play. Alright, to wrap this all up, Battleborn is a good game. It's a quality video game, it's a fun video game, I absolutely recommend it. Does it have a pitifully small online player base? Yes, it does. Does that mean the game is dead and unplayable? No, it does not. It has single player, it has co-op, all the content is completely playable. All the progression, all the unlocks, all the achievements are available. If you buy and play Battleborn right now, nothing is off limits to you because there's not a lot of people playing it. And don't be misled to believe otherwise. Shame, great shame on the YouTubers that are perpetuating this lie that the game is dead and unplayable. That is simply not true. That is an absolute lie, and anyone saying it should be ashamed of themselves. I've said this before and I'll say it again. If a video game has single player, it cannot die. Calling Battleborn dead or unplayable is like saying Wolfenstein, Doom, Call of Duty, just any game with single player and multiplayer multiplayer components, calling that game dead is simply, well, not true. However, that will bring this video to a close. I did not mean for it to go for almost 15 minutes. However, there are simply some things that I felt needed to be said. But what are your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on the topic of this video? Let me know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions in the comment section below. I love reading comments. I get nearly enough comments. Please leave a comment. If you like the video in any way, shape, or form, please hit the like button. Hitting the like button helps you, helps me, helps everybody involved in the video if you hit the like button. If you want to help out and support this video, then please share it on social media, Twitter, and Facebook. If you want to help out and support me directly, then please consider pledging and becoming a patron on my Patreon. Anyways, guys, that's been a video, and I'll see you all later.